Have you ever been in a situation where you spoke too soon and regretted it? Where you revealed too much and it came back to haunt you? Where your own words were turned against you, making you look weak, emotional, or desperate? If you have, you're not alone. In fact, this is why so many people fail in relationships, in business, in negotiations, and in life. Silence is not just golden. It's power, it's control, it's dominance, and yet most people are terrified of it. They fear the awkwardness, the uncertainty, the way silence forces them to sit with their own thoughts. But those who master silence master everything. Today, I'm going to teach you why silence is the ultimate weapon in life, why talking less will make you more powerful than ever, and why the ability to control your words will change your relationships, your career, your confidence, and your entire future. This is not just another motivational speech. This is a brutal truth that, once you understand, will make you unstoppable. Stay until the very end, because what I'm about to tell you will shake your core. People talk too much. They talk when they're nervous. They talk to impress others. They talk to fill the void because silence feels unbearable. They speak without thinking, reacting emotionally, exposing themselves in ways that make them vulnerable to manipulation. They don't realize that every unnecessary word is a currency wasted. Every careless sentence is an opportunity given away. This is why the most powerful people in the world speak less. Because the less you say, the more weight your words carry. Think about the people you respect the most. Are they the ones who never stop talking? Or are they the ones who say very little, but when they do, their words make an impact? Silence is not just about saying less. It's about strategic control. It's about knowing when to speak and when to let others reveal themselves. It's about using pauses to make people uncomfortable, to get the truth out of them, to control the flow of a conversation without saying a word. If you learn to master silence, you automatically gain power over anyone who hasn't. So listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you will give you the advantage in every area of life. Number 1. Why we fear silence. Most people cannot handle silence. They panic when there's even a moment of stillness in a conversation. They start talking, rambling, filling the space, explaining things they don't need to explain, saying things they'll regret, and every single time they give away their power. Look around you. How many people do you see glued to their phones, scrolling mindlessly, consuming noise every second of their lives? They aren't comfortable in silence. They can't sit alone in a room without distraction. The second they stop talking, the second they stop consuming content, they feel uneasy. Silence forces self-reflection. And self-reflection is terrifying to those who haven't built a strong mind. It forces them to sit with their thoughts, to face their insecurities, to acknowledge their flaws. So, they avoid it at all costs. They overshare on social media. They text constantly. They never stop talking, because if they do, they have to face themselves. Think about when you're in a conversation, and there's a pause, a second of silence. Most people rush to fill it. Why? Because it's uncomfortable. They feel exposed, vulnerable. They feel pressure to explain themselves, to justify their existence, to prove something. But guess what? The person who can sit in silence without fear, without insecurity, without anxiety, that person holds the real power. Watch a high-stakes negotiation. The person who speaks the least controls the entire deal. They make the other person feel uneasy, forcing them to reveal too much, to negotiate against themselves, to give away their position. The first person to break the silence loses. Watch a heated argument. The one who stays quiet while the other explodes with emotion automatically wins. They look calm, rational, in control, while the other person looks weak, impulsive, out of control. The next time you're in a conversation, try something. Embrace the silence. When there's a pause, don't rush to fill it. Stay still. Wait. Let the other person feel the pressure. And watch what happens. They'll start talking. They'll start revealing things they shouldn't. They'll start showing their insecurities, their weaknesses, their true selves, all while you remain unreadable, unpredictable, untouchable. This is how powerful people operate. They don't speak to fill the void. They speak only when necessary. And when they do, every word has weight. You must train yourself to handle silence. You must become comfortable with it. Because if you can't control your own urge to speak, you will never be in control of anything. And if you don't learn to control silence, silence will control you. Number 2, how silence gives you control. Most conversations are a battle for control, and most people lose before they even realize a battle is taking place. They speak first. They speak too much. They reveal too soon. And by the time they realize their mistake, it's already too late. Control is about who dictates the flow of the conversation, and the person who stays silent the longest almost always wins. Think about a time when you were negotiating something, maybe a job offer, a deal, even a simple argument. The moment you started over-explaining yourself, you lost leverage. The moment you justified your request, you weakened your position. The moment you kept talking to make sure they understood you, you handed them control. Silence, when used correctly, makes everyone else work harder for your attention, your approval, your validation. When you speak too much, you decrease your value. When you hold back, people respect your words more. They pay closer attention when you finally decide to speak. The less you say, the more power your words have. Think about dating and relationships. The person who texts too much, calls too much, explains too much, they look desperate, needy, overinvested. But the person who waits, who doesn't react emotionally, who isn't always available, they hold the power. They become the one who is chased instead of the one who is chasing. This is the law of supply and demand. The more abundant something is, the less valuable it becomes. If you are always speaking, always available, always explaining, you become common, predictable, replaceable. But if you speak less, if you create mystery, if you hold back just enough to make people work for your words, you increase your value instantly. Try this experiment. The next time someone asks you a question, pause for 3 seconds before answering. It will feel unnatural at first. You'll feel pressure to respond immediately. But fight that urge. Watch how the other person reacts. They will start second-guessing themselves. They will feel the need to clarify their question, to justify why they're asking, to keep talking. They will start revealing more than they intended, and you won't even have said a word yet. This works in business, relationships, friendships, and life. Because silence is not just the absence of words, it is the presence of control. Number 3, the Stoic Art of Listening. Most people talk too much. They don't listen. They think they do, but they don't. They wait for their turn to speak, eager to say what's on their mind, blind to the gold being dropped right in front of them. They miss what people are really saying because they're too focused on their own thoughts, their own responses, their own egos. The world belongs to those who listen, the ones who absorb information while others carelessly throw it away. Listening is not just a skill, it is a weapon. The person who listens the most knows the most. The person who listens the most understands people better than they understand themselves. Look at the most influential people, the ones who command respect without even trying. They are not the ones who talk the most. They are the ones who speak less, but listen with deadly precision. They watch. They read between the lines. They hear what's not being said. They don't just listen to words. They listen to tone, hesitation, body language, what's avoided, what's emphasized, what's left in silence. A person who listens more than they speak is terrifying, because people don't know what they're thinking. They don't know what they've figured out. They don't know how much power they've just given away. People expose themselves when they talk too much. They reveal their weaknesses, their insecurities, their emotions, their limits. They don't realize that every word that leaves their mouth is a clue, a piece of the puzzle that an observer is quietly putting together. Watch how people behave in conversations. The ones who always have something to say, who need to be heard, who argue non-stop, who think speaking more makes them seem smarter. They are the easiest to manipulate because they don't listen. They don't see the traps being set. They don't realize how much they are giving away. But the silent observer, the listener, the one who nods, watches, absorbs, they are the most dangerous person in the room. They know what others don't. They see patterns that others miss. They wait, they gather, they control, not through words, but through silence. Most people don't have the discipline to stay quiet. They think silence makes them look weak, but they don't understand the real game. Silence creates tension. Silence makes others work harder. Silence makes people want to fill the gap, and in doing so, they reveal everything. Next time you're in a conversation, try this. Say nothing when there's a pause. Let the silence sit. Let the other person feel the weight of it. Let them talk first. See what they reveal. Watch how they break first. Watch how they start explaining themselves, giving up more than they intended. This is how power works. Not by being the loudest in the room, but by being the most controlled. If you want to dominate in relationships, in business, in negotiations, in life, master the art of listening, because the one who listens controls. Number 4. When to speak and when to stay quiet. Most people talk when they should be silent. They reveal what should be kept hidden. They speak before they think. They let emotions take over. They rush to explain themselves. And every single time, they weaken their position. Words are like bullets. Once fired, they cannot be taken back. And yet, people shoot them carelessly, spraying them everywhere, hoping to hit something. The wise understand that words must be used with precision, or not at all. There is a time to speak, and a time to stay quiet. The problem is, most people don't know the difference. In business, silence is leverage. The one who speaks first in a negotiation loses power instantly. If you're negotiating a deal, say your offer and shut up. Let the silence work. Let them scramble to respond. Let them fill the void. Every second they hesitate, they reveal more than they want to. In relationships, silence is control. The person who is too available, too eager, too talkative, they lose value. The person who knows when to hold back, when to let the other person wonder, when to let their actions speak louder than words, they create mystery, attraction, respect. A person who talks too much proves they are desperate for validation. Someone who speaks less but with confidence proves they are in control. Most people talk because they fear being misunderstood. They explain, they justify, they overcompensate. But powerful people don't need to explain themselves to everyone. They don't chase validation. They don't need approval. They say what needs to be said and nothing more. Think about this. Have you ever regretted staying silent? Probably not. But how many times have you regretted saying too much? How many times have you wished you had just shut up? That's the difference. Talking exposes. Silence protects. Speaking should be strategic, not reactive. Never speak just because you feel pressure to. Speak only when it benefits you. Speak only when you have something worth saying. Speak only when silence would be a greater weakness than words. Try this experiment. In your next conversation, cut your speaking by half. Say less, listen more. Answer questions with the fewest words necessary. Watch how people start to pay more attention to your words. Watch how they lean in. Watch how they start wondering what you're thinking. Watch how their respect for you grows instantly. This is how you command a room. Not by talking louder, but by making people want to hear you. The weak speak out of impulse. The strong speak with purpose. The weak try to fill silence. The strong own it. The weak explain too much. The strong let their silence create power. Number 5. Silence as a weapon in conversations. Most people have no idea how powerful silence is in a conversation. They think the person who talks the most, who argues the hardest, who dominates the discussion with words, is the one in control. But the truth? The real control belongs to the person who speaks the least. Silence is pressure. It forces people to talk more than they should. It creates tension that makes the other person feel uncomfortable, and in that discomfort, they reveal themselves. Watch how people act when they're forced into silence. They start explaining themselves when they don't need to. They get nervous. They start justifying things they weren't even asked about. They give away too much. This is why the most powerful people use silence as a weapon. They don't waste energy arguing. They don't rush to fill the void. They let silence do the work for them. In negotiations, the person who talks the least always wins. When an offer is put on the table, the first person who speaks loses power. They feel the pressure of silence and start backpedaling. They lower their demands. They soften their position. Meanwhile, the silent person. They sit there, completely in control, forcing the other side to crack first. In arguments, silence makes people angry. When someone wants to provoke you, when they want a reaction, when they want you to lose control, the best response is to say nothing. Let them talk. Let them expose their emotions. Let them reveal their weakness while you stay unshaken. They will beg for your reaction. They will try to pull you into their game, but when you don't give them what they want, they lose control, and you win, without even lifting a finger. Silence can also be a test. When someone is lying, when someone is unsure, when someone is hiding something, silence makes them uncomfortable. The more you let the pause sit, the more they panic. They start adding unnecessary details. They start talking themselves into trouble. They start exposing their own lies. Try this in any conversation. Ask a question and say nothing. Wait. Let the silence stretch. See what happens. Most people will break. They will start explaining themselves when they don't need to. They will start revealing information they never planned to. The person who controls silence controls the conversation. Because words are expected, words are predictable. But silence makes people nervous. And in that nervousness, they show their true selves. Number 6. Why talking too much weakens you. The more you talk, the more you reveal. The more you reveal, the more people can use against you. Talking too much is a sign of weakness. It shows a lack of self-control. It shows desperation. It shows a need for validation. People who can't stop talking are trying to prove something, trying to fill the void with their words because they don't feel strong enough to let silence speak for them. Think about the people who are respected the most, the ones whose words carry the most weight. They don't waste them. They don't explain everything. They don't share more than necessary. And when they do speak, people listen because they know their words are valuable. Now think about people who talk endlessly, who always have something to say, who can't sit in silence for even a second. They lose respect because their words become cheap. If someone talks too much, nothing they say holds weight. Too many people overshare. They talk about their plans before they've even started. They announce their goals before they've made progress. They tell people their weaknesses, their insecurities, their struggles, and then wonder why people don't take them seriously. Silence creates mystery, and mystery creates power. When people don't know everything about you, they have to guess. They have to wonder. They have to think about you more. That gives you control. Talking too much also makes you easy to manipulate. The more information you give, the easier it is for someone to use it against you. If you reveal your weaknesses, people will exploit them. If you talk about your fears, people will use them to control you. If you reveal your ambitions, people will sabotage you before you even begin. There's a reason the most powerful people keep their plans to themselves. They don't announce what they're working on. They don't share their struggles with just anyone. They move in silence, and by the time people realize what they've done, it's already too late to stop them. Want to change your life? Stop talking so much. Stop explaining yourself. Stop announcing every move you make. Stop telling people what you're thinking all the time. Instead, become unpredictable. Say only what is necessary. Let people wonder. Let them guess. Let them think you're 3 steps ahead, even when you're not. Watch how differently people treat you when you stop over-explaining. When you start speaking with purpose. When you let silence do the work for you. Because the truth is, talking too much makes you ordinary. But controlled silence, that makes you dangerous. Number 7, how to stay calm and silent under pressure. Most people break under pressure. They react emotionally. They get defensive. They start talking too much, trying to explain themselves, trying to control the situation with words when they should be doing the exact opposite, staying calm and staying silent. The moment you react emotionally, you lose power. The person who can't control their emotions is the one who gets controlled by others. And nothing gives away weakness faster than talking when you don't need to. Look at how people behave in conflicts. The one who raises their voice, who gets upset, who over-explains, they lose. The one who stays calm, who keeps their voice steady, who says less but means more, they win. Most arguments are won before they even begin. Not by what is said, but by who stays in control. If you can't control your emotions, you can't control your words. And if you can't control your words, someone else will control them for you. A person who is calm and silent under pressure is unpredictable, and unpredictable people are feared and respected. No one knows what you're thinking. No one knows what you're planning. No one knows how much you've figured out. This is why powerful people never let emotions dictate their words. They choose their words carefully. They understand that silence is sometimes the deadliest weapon. In a heated situation, try this. Say nothing. Stay still. Don't react. Just watch. Let the other person talk. Let them expose themselves. Let them lose control while you remain unreadable. People will try to provoke you. They will try to get you to react. They will throw insults, accusations, anything to make you lose control of your silence. But the moment you engage, the moment you react emotionally, they win. This applies to every aspect of life. In relationships, staying calm and silent when someone is testing you shows strength. In business, silence in negotiations creates leverage. In confrontations, not reacting emotionally confuses your opponent. Silence makes people uncomfortable, and when people are uncomfortable, they reveal more than they should. So train yourself. The next time someone challenges you, don't react. Hold the silence. Stay calm. Watch how they get uncomfortable. Watch how they reveal everything you need to know, without you even saying a word. This is how you control any situation, not by overpowering with words, but by overpowering with silence and presence. Number 8, mastering non-verbal communication. Most communication is not spoken, it's in body language, facial expressions, eye contact, Energy. The people who dominate social situations are not always the ones who say the right things. It's the ones who carry themselves with unshakable confidence. Talking less makes people pay more attention to your presence. It forces them to read you in other ways, your stance, your expression, your energy. And when you master nonverbal communication, you control the room without saying a word. Think about the most powerful people in any situation. They don't rush to speak. They don't fidget. They don't over-explain. They own the space they are in. This is why posture matters. This is why eye contact matters. This is why stillness matters. A person who speaks little but looks completely in control is seen as the most powerful person in the room. Now, look at how weak people behave. They avoid eye contact. They shift nervously. They speak quickly, trying to fill the silence. Their words say one thing, but their body betrays them. You can say nothing at all and still dominate a conversation if your presence is strong enough. In business, the person who holds eye contact the longest controls the negotiation. The person who is still, who doesn't fidget, who lets others squirm in the silence, they are the one with the power. In relationships, the one who controls their energy, who doesn't overreact, who lets their presence do the talking, they hold all the value. Think about the last time you saw someone walk into a room and immediately commanded respect. Not because of what they said, but because of how they carried themselves. That is the power of non-verbal dominance. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to convince anyone of anything. You don't need to prove your worth with words. If your energy is right, if your presence is strong, if your silence carries weight, people will feel it. Try this. Next time you enter a room, don't rush to talk. Don't explain yourself. Just observe. Own the space. Hold the silence. See how people respond differently to you. This is what powerful people do. They don't waste words. They don't let nervous energy control them. They let their presence do the work. Master this, and you will never need to fight for attention again. People will be drawn to you, not because of what you say, but because of who you are when you say nothing at all. Number 9, learning from history's silent thinkers. The world has never belonged to the loud. The greatest minds, the ones who changed history, the ones who built empires, controlled nations, and dominated their fields, they were never the ones who spoke the most. They were the ones who mastered silence. Look at the most powerful leaders throughout history, the ones who commanded armies, the ones who built billion-dollar empires, the ones who shaped the course of human civilization. They all understood one thing: silence is power. Words are weapons, and the person who speaks the least wins the most. The strongest generals never revealed their plans before they executed them. The most feared rulers never let anyone predict their next move. The wealthiest people in the world don't talk about their money, their strategy, their goals. They just make moves in silence and let the world react. The more you talk, the more you reveal. The more you reveal, the easier you are to defeat, manipulate, or control. Look at the people who live quietly but control the world. The ones who sit at the top, watching everything, moving the chess pieces while everyone else plays checkers. They never expose their intentions. They never talk more than necessary. They let others do the talking, do the guessing, do the over-explaining, while they sit back and collect power. History does not remember the ones who couldn't stop talking. It remembers the ones who controlled conversations without even needing to speak. Think about the modern world. The people who hold real power are not the ones constantly arguing, constantly seeking attention, constantly proving themselves. The real power brokers are the ones who don't need to explain themselves, who don't let emotions dictate their decisions, who let their actions do all the talking. Most people talk because they think it makes them look intelligent, but the ones who are truly intelligent, they listen, they analyze, they move in silence. If you want to be respected, if you want to be taken seriously, if you want to be in control of your own life, you must study how the greatest minds in history operated. They didn't waste words. They didn't expose their plans. They didn't let the world know their next move before it happened. They controlled everything by controlling what they said. From now on, move like them, think like them, speak less. Let people wonder, let people guess. Let them never quite know what you're thinking, because the person who is unreadable is the person who is untouchable. Number 10. How silence leads to inner peace. Most people are not at peace because they talk too much, think too much, explain too much, and worry too much. Their minds are constantly racing, trying to justify things, trying to defend themselves, trying to control how others see them. But the moment you stop talking so much, the moment you stop over-explaining, the moment you stop feeling the need to prove yourself with words, something incredible happens. You gain complete control over your mind. Silence is not just about power over others, it's about power over yourself. When you stop feeling the need to respond to everything, you stop being controlled by everything. When you stop oversharing, over-explaining, overreacting, you become unshakable. Most people speak out of fear. They talk because they are scared of what will happen if they don't. They talk because silence makes them uncomfortable, but that discomfort, that's where real strength is built. Try this. Go an entire day speaking only when absolutely necessary. No unnecessary comments, no unnecessary conversations. Just observe, just listen, just exist in complete control. Watch what happens to your mind. Watch how much calmer you feel. Watch how much sharper your thoughts become. Most of the stress people carry is from words. Words they regret saying, words they wish they could take back, words they use to react emotionally. But when you stop talking out of impulse, you stop creating problems that never needed to exist. A person who can sit in silence without needing distraction is a person who is in complete control of themselves. Most people can't handle silence because it forces them to face who they really are. They drown themselves in noise, music, social media, meaningless conversations, because the silence makes them confront what's inside. But when you master silence, when you stop running from it, when you start using it to build strength instead of escaping into distractions, you become powerful beyond imagination. You become someone people cannot shake, cannot manipulate, cannot influence, because you are in complete control of your mind, your energy, your words. Most people will never experience true peace because they talk themselves into stress, into anxiety, into weakness. They say too much. They let words run their lives. But the ones who understand the power of silence, they walk through the world untouchable. From now on, let silence be your strength. Let it be your control. Let it be the thing that separates you from everyone who is weak, reactive, and easily manipulated. Because the person who controls their words controls their mind, and the person who controls their mind controls everything. If you want to be powerful, respected, and in control, stop talking so much. Start owning the silence. You have no idea how many opportunities you've lost just because you spoke too soon. How many people have taken advantage of your words? How many times you've made yourself look weak by explaining too much? Today, that changes. From now on, you choose your words carefully. You let others talk first. You use silence to make people uncomfortable, to make them work for your attention, to control every conversation without effort. This is how you become powerful, not by speaking louder, but by speaking less. If you got value from this, support the channel. It takes time, energy, and effort to create these insights, and by supporting this channel, you make sure that these life-changing truths reach more people who desperately need to hear them. Hit subscribe if you want more of this. Hit like if this opened your eyes, and share this with someone who talks too much and needs to hear the truth. Now go out and start practicing silence. Watch what happens.